Hey everybody, my name is Maples and welcome to this video. Today's video, well, first before I get started, let me just say, apologize for the horrible voice audio quality. My computer is kind of old and the mic isn't exactly top notch. So, with that said, this video today, we are going to be making a pop-out clan logo or avatar, whatever you want to call it. Um, yeah, the avatar that we're going to be working with is for Era. And also, if you don't know what a pop-out logo is, just go on Twitter or something. You can look at all of the clans members have avatars with an image popping out of the logo. And this actually is specific to people that can't render their own 3D graphics, but are able to get the 2D logos. So first off, we're gonna open up all of our assets into Photoshop, and I already have them opened in. We're going to be using this image here and this lens flare for our image, and we're going to be using this logo. So first, we're going to go new. We're going to open to a new document. We're going to call this Era Pop Out. And hit OK. Okay, then now we have our new image. We're going to unlock the background, so we're going to mess with that pretty soon. And we're going to take our logo, and we're going to drag it here into the new image. Just right there. Okay. And one thing that people do is they kind of make them look like they're bulged a little bit. The logo looks like it's bulged. So we're going to do that. I'm going to edit, transform, and warp. And we're going to stretch out the ends just a tad, not a whole lot, just a little bit. So it gives it kind of a bulgy look. Build it up. There we go. That looks good. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and now we're going to make this into a quote-unquote 3D image. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to duplicate this layer. Dupe. Okay. We're going to hide this top one. We're going to go here to the bottom one. Make sure it's still visible. We're going to hit Control T. And that's going to bring this menu up here, or this hotbar, or whatever you want to call it, up here. We're going to change these two, the width to 99% and the height to 99%, and double click so it enters a selection. And then what we're going to do, we're going to hit Control Shift Alt, and then we're going to hit T. We'll do this a few times so we get the desired effect. We'll go about 20. Yeah, that looks good. Then we're going to select the top one, or make sure it's selected, and we're going to scroll all the way down our layers. We're going to select all the layers, and we're going to merge them. So all of those is now one layer. So there we go. Then here we can make that one visible again. Double click it. We can put a color overlay over it so we can tell the difference. See? And there we go. 3D logo. Kind of. The color of the top doesn't really matter if you're putting an image on top of it or inside of it. You can make it pretty much any color you want. I just do that for now. Oh, I forgot one thing. And also, while you're in the layer styles, we're going to add a stroke to it, which outlines the outside of it, but we're going to change outside to inside. We're going to raise this up a tad. That looks good. We're going to change that to white. I personally like the white. I think it looks cool. Oh yeah, we can hide this so you can see it. That's pretty cool. My phone. Yeah, so there's that. Oh, I forgot one other thing. I'm getting bad at this. Okay, we can go make an inner shadow, and it's gonna make a shadow on the inside of the logo. You can make it pretty much however you want, but I like to make sure there's no distance on it. I open it up a little bit like that. There we go. So when we add our image in, it'll look really cool. And okay, now we're done with that part. And now the 3D layer, you can make pretty much any color that you want. I usually like to do kind of a grayish, like a dark gray, or even we could even go white and make it look like that. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, we'll go white, kind of an off-white. All right, okay, there we go. Now we have our Era logo. If you want, I'm gonna make this a tad bit bigger. Okay, and sometimes when you do this stuff, it'll pixelate the edges a little bit, but that's fine. And also, I'm going to tilt, not that much, tilt it a little bit. There we go. Cool. And then on the 3D layer, we're going to actually add a drop shadow. This drop shadow will make it stand out a little better on the background. You don't have to have the drop shadow, but I like it. I think it looks rad, and it distinguishes the logo from the background. And also, we're talking about the background. You can make the background, give it a gradient overlay here. A gradient overlay. Oops, I keep doing that. Okay, I'm going to change it from linear to radial. I'm going to switch them to scale to 100. And you can go over in here, change the black to a gray. There we go, a little bit lighter. Yep, that's good. Okay, okay. There we go. And now we're going to take the image that we selected. You can use pretty much any image you want, but this is one that I'm using. We can go over here and unlock it so we can move it. I'm going to drag it over here. And we're going to make sure it's on top of the top layer, the flat part. I'm going to zoom out. Well, to get the image inside of the logo, we're going to right click and then go to create clipping mask. Oh, I forgot about that. Can't have the color overlay, but clipping mask. There we go. So now our image is inside of the logo. And it's starting to come together. It's looking pretty sweet. Okay, now we're going to position. We'll shrink it down a little bit. We'll position it to where we like it. Not shrink it down so much. Go about like that. Make sure. Well, for this particular one, I want to make sure that the spaceman, the astronaut, is in a good spot. So when we start to cut out, it won't look so silly. That looks good. And double click to enter the selection. Okay, then we'll go ahead and zoom back in to 50. So now it's starting to come together. It's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, now we're going to duplicate this one. Hit OK. We'll drag it here so it's unclipped from the selection. We'll drag it back on top. So then now our spaceman is on top of that one. And now we begin the process of cutting him out. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the eraser tool. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. I personally prefer to use the eraser tool, because I feel like I can get more accurate with it in cutting stuff out. Or you can use this, the magnetic lasso tool, and you can kind of go around an image and stuff like that. But I don't like using that, so we're going to use the eraser tool. Make it a little bit bigger to start with here, so you can get the bulk of the image erased. There we go. Get a lot of that out of there. We're gonna shrink it down again a little bit. Okay. Cutting out, spaceman. Oh yeah, cutting out the spaceman. You want to make sure that you get a lot of, or the excess image removed. Also, if you added a drop shadow into, not drop shadow, an inner shadow into this layer here, you can get rid of, oh shit, not that. My bad. You can get rid of a lot of the excess of this one, and it'll show up the shadow, and it looks really nice. Okay. Sorry, this part it can be kind of tedious. That's why I picked this image, because it's fairly simple to cut out. There we go, that looks cool. Now we're going to shrink this thing down to about a 9, maybe we'll go 10. 10. And then we're going to zoom in. Being that this is Photoshop, obviously, it's not going to be, these are raster images, so there's going to be a little pixelation. We're going to cut out the spaceman here a little bit better. Yeah, like I said, I prefer to do it this way better than with the lasso tool. I feel like I can get closer to it and cut out more of what I want rather than what it's selecting for me. Okay, we're gonna go over him a couple of times. We'll go this first time with a little bit bigger brush so we get most of it out, and then we can delete, or not delete, but erase some of the excess. Okay, there we go. And one thing you'll see I'll do later is sometimes I like to add a drop shadow to the image that I cut out, and it looks pretty cool. It makes it pop a little bit more. Looks pretty cool. Okay, we're getting in there pretty close. This part. Oh, that's fine. And sometimes you can go off course with your mouse and it'll erase a little bit of a piece you don't want to erase, but sometimes it's not a whole big of a deal, so that it looks fairly fine. Okay, there's that. We're gonna raise the size of this up a little bit so we can get all this stuff on here. Okay, we're getting there. It's starting to look pretty sweet. If you look over here in the preview, it's starting to look pretty sweet. No, but to be honest, I would prefer to be able to do this with a 3D render, but I don't have the capabilities with my computer to do that, because my computer is old. It's about 6 years old. But I make do with what I got. And what I got isn't much, but we'll make do. Okay, that's most of that out. Go down over here. This stiff. And like I said, you don't have to do it this way. You can use the magnetic lasso tool if you want. And the magnetic lasso tool works better with hard edges. So like stuff that's really outlined in black, like cartoons or stuff like that. Those work really well with the cutting out of stiff. Get rid of this stuff here. Almost missed it. Okay, get one here. Alright. Oh, hold on 1 second. I got a text I have to write back to. Come on, open up. Okay. Okay, I wrote back to that. Now we can continue getting rid of this stuff along here. Some, see, there's that shadow. Looks real cool. Okay. Shrink this back down to about 10. Get real close in there. Okay. Oh, I got some leg. That looks fine now. Not a big deal. We can put this back to there so we can see everything. Okay, it's looking good. Looking good. Okay. And the thing about doing it, making the logos this way, that it can be very simple. And if you have a basic knowledge of Photoshop, as I do, then this will be a piece of cake for you. Because I have absolutely no formal education when it comes to Photoshop. Everything I know about Photoshop, I learned all on my own through tutorials I found all over the internet. If you're looking to get into Photoshop, that's a good way to do it, is to download a trial or whatever, and then find a bunch of tutorials. And there's tutorials ranging from just basic text editing to full-on photo manipulation. And photo manipulation stuff, let me tell you, is a lot of fun. I'm sorry for how long this is taking me. Okay, looks like our astronaut is almost cut out all the way here. And once we get him all the way cut out, we're going to add a drop shadow to the top image, to the top layer, to the top spaceman layer, so that we can highlight everything that was missed. And we can erase those parts. It's a neat little cleanup trick I like to use. And I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to this. I like to get real deep in there. Get as much of that excess out as possible. Okay. Let's shrink this down again a little bit more so we can get down in here. A little bit smaller. There we go, there's that. I think we got just about everything. It looks like we did. A little bit right there. Ooh, that's too big. Okay. There we go. We'll go and zoom back out to 50%. And there we go. Make sure he's back to 100. And voila, there we go. We have probably the most basic way to make a 3D logo. Now we're going to make it a little bit, let me highlight stuff that was missed. Like I said before, I'm going to make a drop shadow. See, there is everything that was missed. Most of it you can't really see, most of it doesn't really matter. But I like to clean it up a little bit. Depending on your system, this may run weird. And for some reason, the fuzzy eraser tool doesn't like to pick everything up. I'm not sure why that is, but that's just the way it goes. And we're just gonna get rid of most of the big stuff here. If you want to get really fancy, you can get really close to the astronaut, and you can put the drop shadow around him, and it makes it look pretty cool. But I don't think we're gonna do that today. We're gonna do a little something. But that doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit of a drop shadow line. We'll keep it that way. Okay. Now, one thing I like to do, I like to add lens flares, or you can call them optical flares or whatever. And I already have one up right here. And since our image is warped, we're gonna have to warp the flare a little bit to match the edges. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this also underneath. Oh, yeah, do that. Put him underneath here, so that the light from that is underneath him. I'm gonna shrink this down a bit. I'm gonna rotate it to the right angle on that. Move it over here. I'm shrinking down a little bit more. Feels good. Okay, and now we're gonna warp it. I'm gonna edit, transform, and then warp. I'm gonna move the edges. Oh yeah, go. Push that out a little bit. I'm gonna try and get it as close to that edge shape as possible. And also, while it's in warp like this, you can actually move it over using the arrow keys so you can get it closer to how you want it. That looks alright. It's looking pretty close. It's pretty close there. That looks pretty good, and we're gonna hit enter. And we're gonna zoom in a little bit here to make sure it's fairly accurate. I'm sorry for how slow this is going. That looks fairly accurate. Cool. Okay, and if you're gonna do this with no background and make it a PNG like this, you're gonna have to go in with this image, like the eraser, make it kind of small. You're gonna have to get rid of some of the excess light around here, so otherwise it'll look weird. I'm gonna do it anyways, but there we go. Okay, and then we're gonna actually just duplicate this layer. We're gonna go to edit, transform, flip horizontal, and then we're gonna move it over to here. Since these should be fairly close in their angles, and look at that, they are really close. Cool, that worked out perfect. Maybe we'll add one more to the R, I'm thinking. Should we add one more to the R? And I'm gonna get rid of this drop shadow. That's starting to look silly. Okay. I don't want to add one to the R. It would be a little tedious. And there's that. So it looks pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Oh, and we can actually, for the background, you can keep it gray like this with the gradient like I did before. You can do that, make it so it's a PNG image, so there's no background. Or you can actually just duplicate this one and put it behind like that. Like that actually looks pretty cool too. And we're actually going to change this to an overlay. There we go. That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty sweet. And let's see. Well, we can just make that back to normal. And even just bring down the opacity a little bit, so that the background part is not too overbearing over the image. Right there. It's Cool. Okay, now we're going to do the text. Select the text tool, wait for that to load up. Sometimes it takes a little bit on my computer. Like I said, my computer's old. It's poopy. Okay, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Alright, there. We're gonna put. Well, right now we're just gonna put your. Oops, that's not how I spell your. Your name. Okay. Well, we could just leave it like that, but that doesn't look nearly as cool as what we can do with it. So we're going to do this. We're going to give this, the text image, a little bit of a bulge. Oh, not that much of a bulge. So I've selected the wrong type. Let's go. No, there we go, bulge. I'll do that to it. We'll make it vertical a little bit. Okay, I'll hit OK. And I'm going to actually shrink this down a tad and rotate it a bit so that it's fairly close to there, to the same angle. Okay, and then we're actually going to do a couple layer styles here. First, we're not going to add a color overlay, but we're going to add a stroke, just like we did on here. Do the same thing, change outside to inside, make it white, and hit OK. We'll raise that size up a little bit. Okay, and then we're actually going to duplicate this layer again. Okay, we're going to move it above the text layer, and then we're going to hit create clipping mask. And then now it's inside a layer. We're going to make sure this is 200. Okay. Oh, I forgot the drop shadow. Go ahead and add drop shadow to this. No distance. Go strictly behind it. Makes that pop out a little bit there. Cool. And there we have it. There is a pretty cool Air logo that you made from just this image right here. We turned this into this. Now that is cool. Oh, and one other thing, I'm going to add an inner shadow into this. Just a tad bit of shadow. But it's still darker. Cool. Alright, and there you have it. There is your very own Arrow logo. You can pretty much do this technique with any logo that you want. You can do it with Obey, you can do it with Soar, you can do it with Horizon. As long as you have the flat logo, you can do this technique. Yeah, and actually, I think I'm going to be giving this particular one away. If this video gets to 100 likes, no, we'll do 50 likes. If this video gets to 50 likes, I will give this away on my Twitter. So make sure to follow my Twitter so you know when I start doing this giveaway. And I also have a set of presidential logos that I had done that I'll be giving away too. Maybe, I don't know yet. So yeah, there you go. It's your very own logo. It turned out really cool. And I will, if you win, I'll put your name right here. So there's my name right there. And I can do it without the background or with the background. However you prefer it to be done. And there you go. Cool stuff, man. Then we'll hit File, Save As. And if you're doing it with a background, you'll save it as a JPEG like this. And you'll save it to wherever you want to save it to. I'll save it here. Pop out JPEG. There it is. And you hit save. And it's done. You are, well, you have to save again. Okay, there we go. Now it's done. and you have your very own arrow logo. Okay, and then yeah, that's basically it. So I thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed, and if you liked it, please leave a like. And if you want more content like this, as this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, if you want more like this, then let me know, and I'll do more stuff like this. Maybe I'll do speed arts too. Who knows? We'll see. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.